So this is the most common issue that I see a lot of business owners face, and unfortunately they don't even realize it because they do not have a proper system to go about tracking the quality of their leads. For example, the other day I was talking to this business owner and they kept on saying that, Rohan, I'm just not able to get sales. I'm not able to get sales. And when I actually asked them, hey, what kind of leads are you talking to? Are they good quality or not? And they had a very ambiguous response. Yeah, some of them are good, some of them are bad. So I just asked them, what is your quality score? This means what percentage of leads are you considering as quality? And they had absolutely no answer to that. And that is the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, is they do not track the quality of the leads that they are getting. So here's something that I could definitely recommend to you. So if you do not track what kind of quality leads are you getting, then how exactly will you know if they are good enough to actually get on a call with or actually pitch to? And if you're just pitching to a bunch of random people, this means you are wasting a lot of your own time talking to junk leads, and you are wasting the time of your sales team as well, or whoever the hell is pitching in your organization. And that will lead to a lot of unproductivity, because imagine this, we all have just 24 hours in a day. Now, would you rather spend your, let's suppose, 8 to 9 working hours talking to people who are, available with the money, who have the urgency, who have the need and the requirement to actually buy your product or service? Or would you actually waste that time talking to a bunch of leads who are just not even the good fit for you, right? So what you can do is, I would highly recommend you go and create some sort of spreadsheet or some sort of grading criteria in your organization. And how you can do that is by simply creating a table, just like how you see over here. And I want you to divide that table into the following categories. First would be B, then it would be A, then there would be N, and then finally it would be T. Now let me explain you what exactly this basically means. B would stand for something called as budget. Okay, so does this mean, if the lead that you're actually getting, do they even have the necessary funds to actually buy your advice or services or products? And if the chances are that they do not, then it would be very, very difficult. So what you can do is you can create different categories of the budget that you are required to have. For example, somebody could have a 5,000 budget, somebody could have a 10,000 budget, somebody could have, let's say, a 30,000 budget, somebody could have a 1 lakh plus budget, somebody could have a 10 lakh plus budget. So then what I want you to do is, I want you to assign a simple score to each category of lead that you're getting. So for example, if somebody only has 5,000 rupees to maybe spend on your product, advice or services, maybe you will give them a score of 1. On the other hand, let's suppose, somebody has 10,000, maybe you'll give them a score of 2, then 3, then 4. And if somebody who actually has a budget of 10 lakh plus, what you can do is you can give them a score of 5, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. And this means leads that actually have this much budget, you will end up giving them a higher rating than individuals who have, let's suppose, a lower budget. So the second thing is called as authority. Now, a lot of times what happens is business owners end up talking to people who are not even the decision makers to end up buying the advice or service. So I don't know if you know about this company called as Byju's, but if they still exist or not, but whenever that company used to pitch their educational programs to, let's suppose, kids or children, they would not directly schedule the call with the child themselves. In fact, they would not even schedule the call directly with the mother as well. What they would do is they would make it a point, or their sales team would make it a point, to actually talk to the decision maker. This means they would deliberately ask on the phone, hey, would the father or maybe grandparents or someone important would also be present during the meeting or not? And if they used to say that, oh, father is not available or the decision maker is not available, what used to happen is they used to end up canceling that meeting and they would schedule it at a time when the decision maker would actually be available. So this is very, very important. What you should also do is you can also create a category where you can assign score to somebody like, if somebody in Byju's case, no decision maker is present, then maybe you will actually give that lead a score of 1. Or let's suppose maybe only the mother and plus the child are present, then maybe you can give them a score of 3. Maybe if the child is only present, right, or the student is only present, then you can give them a score of 2. Let's suppose if mother plus child plus grandparents are present, then maybe you could give them a score of 4. And where mother plus child plus dad plus grandparents if present, right, then maybe you can give them a score of 5. And this way you are now able to filter out people who are actually having the authority to basically buy whatever you are selling. And the higher the score, of course, the higher the chance of you being able to actually convert those leads. Now, by doing this simple exercise, just to give you a reminder, what your team or you will end up doing is you are now spending that relevant time talking to people who have the budget, people who have the authority to buy, and people who have the maximum score. And you can take this score, maybe put it on a spreadsheet, put it on your CRM, and only call those leads, or only actually put most of your efforts to the leads with the maximum score. Now, moving on, let's get into point number 3, which is called as N. Now, N stands for need. Okay, now what do I mean by this? This basically means how urgent is the problem that this individual is looking to solve, right? For instance, let's suppose you are selling some sort of weight loss offer. Okay, now what could happen is, let's suppose somebody who is not super obese, maybe they just saw some YouTube video or whatever, and they thought, okay, hey, I should probably get in shape. Maybe I should take care of my health, right? Now, that person might be, a little bit serious about their health, but not super serious to an extent where they are like going to go bonkers, right? Now, on the other hand, imagine this individual who has been obese since the last 10 to 15 years. Maybe, they have been on a yo-yo cycle where they have tried various kind of diet programs. They have tried various kind of workout programs, but still, sometimes they lose weight, sometimes they do not, and then they gain that weight back again. Now, as a result of this, their health is really getting impacted. Doctors are complaining that, hey, you have issues like diabetes, you have issues like other heart diseases and whatnot, which could result in, a lot of chronic diseases in the future. And that individual is super frustrated and they want a solution to actually lose weight ASAP, right? So, who do you think would be in a better position to actually buy any high-end product or service? And who would be in a position to actually invest more urgently in a particular solution? And who do you think has the maximum need to actually go and buy, whatever you're selling? Of course, would it be the person who really desperately wants a solution, who has tried everything? Or do you think it would be an individual who just came across some, workout video online and they are now thinking I should actually go about doing something? If you're smart, of course, you will actually pick the latter option. And that is why you can also start thinking, right? Maybe you could put some sort of lead criteria. So you could say not serious, right? Or you could maybe then create mild serious, right? Or then you could have serious, right? And then you could have kinda serious, right? Or whatever. And then you could have super serious, right? This could be something that you can decide based on whatever you are selling. And of course, the more serious the person, this means the higher their need, and then the higher the score that you can, of course, assign to them. Now, let's talk about the last one, which is time. So, a lot of times what ends up happening is you do end up finding somebody who has the budget, who are the decision maker, and they actually have the need as well to buy your product, advice, or service. But unfortunately, do you know what they lack? The timing is just not correct. Maybe they have, some other commitment. Maybe they are waiting for a project to get close, get the money, and then actually buy from you. Or maybe, they have to travel somewhere, or maybe they have some health issues going on, or whatever the reason could be. But they are not in the condition to actually buy whatever you're selling right now. Okay. So therefore, what you need to do is, it's like really not worth it to talk to individuals, who are just not looking for a solution ASAP, unless you basically don't have leads and you're operating in scarcity mindset. But point is, if you are actually spending your hours or working hours talking to people who are looking for a solution as fast as possible, they are willing to commit the time, they are actually in the need for a solution ASAP, then guess what? You would actually have a higher conversion rate, right? So what you can also do is you can also create criteria. For example, maybe you can say that, hey, this person is willing to start in 180 days. Maybe somebody who's willing to start in 90 days. Maybe somebody who's willing to start in 60 days. 30 to 60 days, right? Then it could be under maybe 30 days, right? Maybe they want a solution in under 30 days. And then maybe you could have somebody who wants a solution as soon as possible, right? They're like, hey, tomorrow if you give me whatever you're selling and there's a solution to whatever problem that you're solving with your business, I would be actually willing to invest ASAP. So in that case, what you would end up doing is people who want the solution as fast as possible, they have the time and they are willing to commit that time, then you would end up rating these people 5. On the other hand, people who are looking for a solution maybe 90 days, 180 days and later, maybe you would end up giving them a lower score. And what you can do is you could put a date next to it on your CRM, on your spreadsheet, and you can basically follow up with these individuals later on in the future when they would end up requiring whatever you're selling. So this way, if you are able to actually do this kind of qualification and assign a score, what would happen is, let's suppose I get a lead and maybe they have, let's suppose a 1 lakh budget, right? And maybe, the decision maker, all of them are present. So maybe what would happen is, let's suppose they have a budget of 1 lakh. So I would maybe give them a score of 4. Then let's suppose that they are the authority and the decision maker. I would probably give them a score of 5. Okay. And in terms of seriousness, maybe they are not super serious, but they're kind of here serious. So I'll just probably give them a score of 3. And let's suppose I get a lead which says that, hey, I'm looking to actually get the solution under 90 days. So what I would do is I would give them a score of 4. So now let's do some math, right? 4 plus 5, which is 9, 9 plus 3, which is 12, 12 plus 4 is 16. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you basically divide that by 4. So this means the average score that we get for this particular lead would be 4, which may be considered as a very hot lead that you might want to talk to. On the other hand, let's suppose they give you a lower rating. Let's suppose 1 here and 2 here and then maybe 2 here and then 1 here again. Then probably the average score that you would get would be between 1 and 2. So let's suppose the score is 1. Now tell me, would you rather spend time talking to a lead which has scoring of 1, or would you end up talking to a lead which has, a scoring which is higher? Just you be the judge, right? So here's why now you should be able to calculate how many people you are able to actually get, which are more of the 4 numbers or the 5 numbers as compared to the people with the lower numbers. And the more you get of these, the higher your lead quality would be. And as a result, guess what? You would be able to get more sales because now you're spending that time talking to the right qualified people.